The first point to learning strumming patterns is don't learn strumming patterns unless you're able to do the chord changes in the song in timing first. If you could do that, it means you have a song, you know the chords, you know the order the chords are played in, chord sequence, how many beats each chord is being played, chord timing, and you can change between the chords smoothly, chord transitioning. If you can do all that, then you're ready to learn and apply a strumming pattern. If you got those skills, then we could keep it moving. Second point, the way to think about strumming is to recognize that in principle, your strumming hand is actually always just rocking or alternating up and down, even with the most basic repetitive down strum. Down, down, down. If you look, you can see that each time my hand is still coming up, but I'm just skipping, hitting the strings as I come up. If I play the strings as I come up, right, like that, then the pattern goes from down, 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 down to down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. So strumming variations occur just by skipping the string sometimes or changing the speed of a downstroke or an upstroke. And that is a good general concept to keep in mind when you come across more complicated strumming patterns later on. So now let's use a song that has the common G-C-D-C progression with 2 beats per chord to demonstrate how we could learn a strumming pattern beyond the basic down, up, down, up. Now if you came from the last video, you'll recognize this is the chord and strumming pattern I was using in the song at the end of the video. And the reality is, if you learn this is actually a chord progression and strumming pattern for multiple songs. And we will look at that in more detail in the easy songs list. But for now, let's figure out how we can break down this strumming pattern so that you could play. At this point in the game, you already know these chords and can transition in timing. So we could just keep it to one chord, just to make it easier. Or we could even just mute the strings like this. This will allow us to just focus on the strumming hand. So whichever is easier for you. It might be easier if you could actually hear the chord. It might be easier if you just have it muted and then you can hear what's happening with the actual strumming hand. And that brings us to the third point. When you learn the rhythm, you can learn it without any chords if you want to, or you can just mute the strings and you can focus more on your rhythm hand. Alright? So, I mean, obviously still make sure you're comfortable with the chord changes and timing first, but you can focus here on the strumming hand and rhythm only. And once you get a little comfortable, you can always incorporate the chords afterwards. So the pattern here is down, 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 up, down. Okay? Down, 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 up, down, up, down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down, up, down, 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 down. Muted. See, that's kind of the advantage of taking the chord sound out of it, so you can kind of hear really what's happening here. Down, 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 up, down, right? Now, whenever you have a more complex pattern like this, and I mean this isn't that complex, but beyond just the basic up, down, or down, up, you can split even this into smaller parts and then put it together. So you could split this pattern into 2 parts as down, down, right? Just 1, 1, and then down, up, down, up. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And sometimes it's even more helpful, instead of counting, maybe to use words, because you might be tempted, especially as a beginner, when you hit this twice like this, you mightn't have the idea in your head that this is 1, 1. You might want to say 1, 2, 1, because you're hearing this twice. So you might want to say 1, 2, 1, 2. This is not 1, 2. This is 1 and 2, 1 and 2. This is 1 and 1 and 1 and 2, right? Not 1, 2. So that's why it can be helpful sometimes to use a little jingle or words that can help you get the timing also, right? So you can say 1, 2, 1, 2, or down, 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 up, down, up, down, down. You can go slow. Down, 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 up, down, up, down, 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 up. Bang, bang, daga, daga, 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 bang, bang, ra, ra, ra. Alright, you get the idea. Sometimes putting your own little jingle of words can help you get that timing. Alright, so that's point 5. Throw in a little wordplay in there to help you out. It helps you to catch the rhythm a little easier if you make a little song out of it for yourself. And then that's it. You're ready. This is one of the hardest parts for beginners, strumming. So to recap, the first point is to make sure you have the chord transition timing down first. Second is to recognize that the basis of strumming is a continuous, alternating up-down or down-up rhythm. Third, when you're practicing, you can mute the chords to focus on your strumming hand, or maybe just play a single chord, whichever is easier for you. 4 is break the pattern down into smaller parts and then learn them individually. And 5, you can throw in a little wordplay in there to help your hand coordination. Sometimes throwing that little jingle in will just help you catch that rhythm a little more easily. And that brings us to the end of this little series of general info and tips that you can apply when you start learning songs on the channel or anywhere for that matter. The last video will be a summary of everything we covered in this playlist, and I'll give you a little formula at the end so that you can keep that in mind whenever you're approaching learning a new song. As always, if this was helpful for you, you can jam your like and subscribe, leave a comment below, and ring the bell for the most vibes. We move in. Forward ever, backward never. Blessings and respect. I'll see you in the next video. Oh man, we almost there. We're close. Feeling it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Watch it, yo. Life is one big party when you're still young, but who's gonna have your back when it's all done? It's all good when you live it, have pure fun. Can't be a fool, son. What about the long run? Looking back, shorty always a mention. Said me not giving her much attention. She was there through my incarceration. I wanna show the nation my appreciation. Girl, you're my angel, you're my darling angel. Closer than my peeps you are to me, baby. Shorty, you're my angel. You see all kinds of songs you could play with this little rhythm. 3 chords, 1 progression, same strumming pattern. We're jamming right through all kind of action going on here as well.